Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'll be sharing my personal favorite Necromancer primary attack build or a non-summoner Necromancer build which I use for raids, for Vanguards and also sometimes for dungeons when I don't want to use summons. In this build, I was able to cross 3 million damage per second. Now this might not seem a lot to many people, but let me tell you what I was working with. I had only 2300 resonance. My familiar is basically not optimal for this particular for PvE. So if you have a PvE focused familiar, if you have more resonance and also if you have better gems than me, then definitely I believe I'm very confident that you can get very high numbers from this particular build. So 3 million DPS on 2300 resonance, I don't think it's too bad. If you have very high resonance, I think you can even cross 5 or 6 million damage per second. So basically in this video, for how I'll break down is I'll start with the raid build for basically for single target, and then I'll tell you the Vanguard build in which I do some changes, and also then the dungeon build. So everything will be time stamped, so make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you appreciate the content of this channel. And now let's get into the video. So first we start with the skill and essences. For the skills, we are basically using command golem. I know I said that this is a primary attack build, but only we are going to use one summon golem, but that is for a specific reason which I'll cover later on. Then we are using corpse lance, grim scythe and bone armor. And for my primary attack, I'm using bone spear and not the soul fire, right? These are the 4 skills that I use. The essences that I use is for grim scythe, I'm using 3 essences. The main hand, which basically makes your grim scythe come out from your primary attack, right? Craving bay. For pant essence, I'm using grim scythe that basically triggers all the continual damage on the target whenever it hits the target, and also the helmet essence, which basically breaks the enemy armor when grim scythe hits the enemy. So these are the 3 grim scythe essences. For corpse lance, I'm using one offhand essence. Basically this is going to empower my primary attack. This consumes the corpses. How are we producing corpses? Grim scythe. Grim scythe is going to, every time the grim scythe hits the enemy, corpses are going to be produced, and that's how we use corpse lance. This corpse lance is basically your primary attack. This is going to buff your primary attack. So both of these are going to buff your primary attack. Then we come to bone armor. Bone armor, we are using the essence which basically consumes the corpses. Trust me, you will have a lot of corpses because of the high attack speed of this build. So you have a lot of corpses, so you can definitely use this bone armor. This bone armor basically can increase your damage by up to 38%, and you also take less damage, but the main point is you take 38% damage buff. This is huge, pretty huge. So apart from 38% damage boost from bone armor, we are also using the shoulder, which increases primary attack speed because this is a primary attack build. So yeah, no surprises there. And I also said I'm using command golem, and that is only because this is basically I didn't find a better alternative here. I thought this is the best one. Basically command golem is going to make the enemy take more damage, 15.2%. So basically you just summon the command golem and let it do its thing, and then you activate all of these 3 skills and you just hit the enemy. Now let's come to the set items. For set items, there are actually 2 options. The one which I use is 4 pieces of Vithus, because this is a primary attack build. So obviously yes, 4 pieces of Vithus is going to be your main prime set. Apart from 4 pieces of Vithus, there are 2 other options. 4 pieces of Angment or 4 pieces of Banquet of Eyes. You can try both of them one after the another. Whichever is going to give you more damage, go for that. But I exactly know which one is going to give you more damage. Like if you have a lot of dot based gems, for example, if you have Everlasting Torment, Sleeping Bile, Roiling Consequence, like I do not have that. If I had that, my damage would be even much higher, right? More than 3 million per DPS, right? So if you have those, you probably will get more damage from Banquet of Ice set. But if you don't have so many dot based gems, Angment is going to be your best friend. But for single target, I definitely prefer Angment set. Now let's talk about runes. Why I'm talking about runes? Because runes is also plays a good important role. There are 2 runes, one rune actually, that gives primary attack damage increase. I thought this is very important to mention in this particular video. I am using 2 of these in my offhand. These are available at minimum price in my market, 2700 platinum. So I was able to get 2 of these. Runes did not drop for me in the open world, right? So primary attack damage increase 4.5 and 4.5. I think these are very honorable mentions. Apart from that, you can also have TYR runes. This is going to increase your beneficial effect durations, right? Both of them 9%. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the 4 gold runes. I think these are the best in low budget, right? These are the best runes for low budget. Next, come after runes, let's talk about Reforge. For the Reforge, I am using 8 pieces of Vengeance because this is a primary attack build, so obviously Vengeance is going to be your best friend. In Vengeance, definitely go for attack speed increase, and also I'm also having beneficial effect duration in all my gears. After Vengeance and beneficial effect duration, you can take primary attack damage increase or critical hit damage increase. So that is going to be the Reforged stones. I think 8 pieces of Vengeance is the best one for this particular build. Next, we are checking out the Paragon tree. For the Paragon, I am using Slinger, and in Slinger I am using obviously Unseen Dynamism. I am using Impulsive, Uncanny and Gifted. And the 5th one, I am not using Spell Surge. Instead, I am using Careful Aim. So this is basically going to increase your damage the further you are away from the enemy. So if you are standing away, then you will deal more damage. So I think for Necromancer, for this particular build, I think this works. This is a very good option. And now let's talk about legendary gems, what I have and what better things that I could have, which is going to basically improve your experience as a Necromancer as a whole, not just this build, right? So Viper's Bite, Pain Clasp, these are solid gems for this particular build. Gloom Clasp, this is also very good. Bottled Hope, very good. This one is what? Mother's Lament, very good. You also have Blood-Soaked Jade, very good. Now Igneous Scorn, instead of this you can have Roiling Consequence. I think Roiling Consequence is going to be very important going forward. It is one of the best gems right now. Unfortunately, I do not have, and you can see I do not have the budget as well to replace this gems, right? So I'm using whatever I have. Roiling Consequence is going to be a very good option. I'm also using Wolfheart because I'm using dots, right? But you can also use other gems like Roiling Consequence, like 5-star. And if you don't want to use 5-star for lower gems, I think Everlasting Torment or the one which increases the duration of your dots, Misery Elixir. Yeah, so those are also very good options. And also obviously Sleeping Bile. Sleeping Bile is not my personal favorite, but yeah, for dot builds, for this build as well, you can use those gems. Why are we using those gems? Because of these pants. This pant is going to trigger all continual damage from the source, right? It is going to make your continual damage trigger at the same time, making it a burst damage. So you are going to melt the enemy super fast. So yeah, this is going to be the run. This is going to be the dummy test which I wanted to show. And this is I'm also will say what the rotation I'm using here. First, I activate my Grim Scythe, which basically generates corpse. Now those corpses is consumed by my basically this particular corpse lance and also bone armor. And meanwhile, Command Golem is attacking the enemy, basically making them take more damage. So this is how basically the rotation goes. You just activate all the 4 skills one after the other and basically keep hitting your primary attack damage. So once your build is ready, the execution is very simple, one after the other. It's very easy to use build, right? So that is the base build which I use for raids. Now for Vanguard, for Vanguard build I'm using the exact same build, except I change one thing, because in Vanguard you are taking so much damage. So we are taking the bone armor, which basically gives you immunity to 5 hits, and this is very important in Vanguard. And this is basically totally changes the run of Vanguard. You can be more free, and there are so many sometimes and suppose in the second tower there are so many enemies that basically overwhelm you. This is going to be very useful. So I use this particular bone armor. Rest of the things I keep the same. For set items in Vanguard, instead of 4-piece augment, go for 4-piece of banquet. That way you will get a lot more crit damage. basically critical hits, right? Now finally we move on to the dungeon build. For dungeons, summons build is very good, but in case you don't want to use summons, or maybe summons are not very effective for your particular character, this build is going to be great. Just remove your command golem and switch it with wraith form. That's it. And for wraith form we are using the new essence, which basically increases your basically gives you big, this is like a barbarian sprint, right? Where is it? Wraith form. This increases your movement speed, and this has full uptime. There's no downtime on this. So because in dungeons you need to constantly move, you need to walk a long ways, so definitely wraith form is going to be helpful. Apart from that, just activate your bone armor, grim scythe, and then just use your corpse lance. And trust me, this does a lot of damage. This is very good for dungeons. So do try these builds for raids, Vanguard and dungeons. I'm pretty sure you will like it. Now for farming, I already have a video. I'll link it in the top right corner. Make sure to check it out. I'm really proud of that video. That is a very fast farming build that I use for farming and as well as terror rifts. So for farming terror rifts, I already have a video for Necromancer. I also have a PvP video for Necromancer, but I will make an updated one very soon. This one covers raids, vanguards. The next one most probably will cover challenge rifts and also gauntlet. And then obviously the latest PvP build as well. So in this way, I think in the channel, I think I'll have all the latest Necromancer builds very soon. So make sure to subscribe so you will know exactly when those videos drop, right? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.